This is the Pal Talk News Network.
The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of paltalk.com, AVN Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online, a production of paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet, with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes, YouTube, Blip TV, and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you're encouraged to post your comments, whether you agree with yours truly or not. No retribution. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you to the show, and I remind you that you should be checking early and often, just like voting in Chicago, our news site, paltalknewsnetwork.com, for news and analysis that you may or may not see, hear, or read in the mainstream media from many perspectives, because we are non-ideological and we have sought out the best contributors from all points of view that we could elicit to keep you a most informed audience. Well, the big story today continues to be the fallout and the continuing investigation from and of the attempt Saturday night to blow up a car bomb in Times Square, which, if it had succeeded, surely would have resulted in mass casualties, because with the weather as great as it is, believe me when I tell you, Times Square is always jammed with people. And I'm pleased to report that in the ensuing days, people have not been staying away in droves. In fact, they have been coming to Times Square in large numbers. Perhaps it's because everything ended very well, in spite of the fact that the suspect nearly got away. And the way he nearly got away has forced a change in federal policy with regard to the no-fly list that they have in effect. And I'm going to get to that in just a minute. We're also going to talk about the fact that there are members of the United States Congress, forget about the political pundits, they don't really count, but members of the United States Congress who think that it is atrocious that the suspect was read his rights. And they do not believe that terrorist suspects should be accorded the same Mirandizing rights that the rest of us have here in the United States. An erosion, ladies and gentlemen, of freedoms, I believe. Everybody doesn't agree with me on that. And on the other side of that issue, there are those, including the mayor and police commissioner of New York City, who were on Capitol Hill today to promote adoption of a bill that would close the so-called terror gap or terrorist gap in buying guns. They want to make it so that anybody who is on a terror watch list, convicted of a crime or not, be precluded from purchasing guns in the United States of America. A slippery slope indeed. Joining us to help put this all into perspective is former NYPD officer, counterterrorism expert, and now Homeland Security correspondent for the Pal Talk News Network, Gary Moskowitz. Gary, welcome to News Talk Online on the Pal Talk News Network.
Thank you. It's always great to be here.
Great to have you. Well, the good news is the bomb didn't go off, and the next good news is the guy was caught, but he nearly got away.
Right, and it's a very serious problem that we have from a law enforcement point of view here. I believe that the police department, New York City Police Department, has to be commended when they do a good job, and also they have to be critiqued. Of course, many people are happy that the police department investigated, and some agencies finally connected a few dots right away. But still, I believe they were lucky in many aspects. It was literally could have been a matter of minutes or maybe hours that he would have got away, and we wouldn't have the tremendous amount of information that we have now. I mean, first of all, one of the complaints that I have is that We lucked out because somebody saw it, and that was very good. I'm happy that. But my point is that the police need to be more more cognizant of what's going on. I was a young cop working in Midtown North at the time, and I worked in Times Square for about 5 years on a regular basis, so I know the Times Square very, very well. And anybody who parks a car there, what I'm suggesting, one of the first things the police department has to put in some type of regulation is that they have to tell their cops they have to copy the plate number down. Even if someone's just stopping for momentarily. If they stop in a place that's considered a prime target, then that plate numbers have to be registered. No one should be allowed to stop in those type of areas. That's the first thing. Now, sure, the guy didn't stop that long before the other person came, before a bystander came and saw the police officer. However, it's important that we train the cops to be cognizant of this, and many of them are not. There was another incident happened a while back also, where there was another possibly a van was left there for 2 full days before someone really noticed there was a problem. That we shouldn't have to rely only on bystanders. That's the first problem. There are a few other problems also. One of the main
Gary,
problems
let me interrupt you just for a second. Normal citizens, you and I, walking down the street, we actually are the first line of defense. They tell us constantly, if you see something, say something. And isn't that really how it's supposed to work? The cops are not omnipresent.
First of all, let me tell you something. That's, sure, in a perfect world, that's the right thing. I want to tell you something that doesn't work that way, and that's why we don't have a lot of information here. I personally, on several times reported things. I've called 911 on my cell phone, and I saw a guy videotaping who looked like he was from Middle Eastern descent, and suspicious to me, on the train. I called 911. I got upstairs. I couldn't get any police response. I've called on other occasions personally. They don't even respond, or they don't take any. They don't take some of the information seriously. One is they probably get a lot of calls that are not significant, but the idea is like you're digging for gold. You have to dig through tons and tons of dirt before you get gold. They have to take everyone and consider every possible information, and often they don't do that. So when people say just call, many people do call, and they're not taken seriously, so they don't call anymore. We lucked out at this time. So you have to think about that.
Yeah, well, this time it worked just well. Now let's talk about the two or three aspects of this story. One, the guy was able, even though he had been placed once identified by the authorities on the no-fly list, to board a plane, and it actually was the airline employees who thought that he was acting hinky, so then they checked his name against the no-fly list, and they said, he was just added to the no-fly list. The reason being, the law said that once every 24 hours they had to check update their no-fly list at the terminals. Now there's a new regulation that just came in today, which says that they have to more often update the no-fly list. Obviously, this is hindsight, which is 2020, but would you not agree that this is something that they should have anticipated, that when this guy was put on the no-fly list because he was considered a flight risk from here